to Sunday. It is December the 11th. It is 5:03 p.m. in Southern California anyway. And today I would like to begin with an experience I had on December the 8th. Now, this video is about the response I received when I asked to touch the source or to touch God. Was this actually me touching God or connecting with God in some way? Well, I think a part of me feels like I'll kind of let you be the judge of what it was. For me, and after having a discussion with my mother about it, we do believe that that was the case. But of course, in this community, with this channel, these are all theories. And so I want to make sure that that is 100% crystal clear before I start with this experience. A part of this also, by the way, before I get into it, is about me talking about the simplicity of things. This is a subject that I have brought up before, that I think that we overcomplicate things when we talk about these experiences and we talk about what's beyond the 3D. I think we have a tendency to overcomplicate things, and I think that it's much simpler than I think it's much simpler than we believe it is. Let's just put it that way. But anyway, let me first talk about the experience. Again, this happened on December the 8th. And so this experience started like so many different experiences. I do believe I had on storm sounds at the time, but I can't remember exactly if that's what I had on or not. This is something that I always talk about with my experiences because I know that there are people who are interested in that. So I laid down. I was on my right side, I believe, which is a side that I guess it's a good side for me. Again, it's so funny. People will ask this question, one of the questions they always ask, and this is something I've addressed before, but I'll bring this up again. People have asked, what is the best way to lie down when they are attempting an experience? And I always say, whatever way feels the most comfortable for you. If it feels comfortable for you to be on your back, lie on your back. If it feels comfortable for you to be on your sides, well, then do that as well. So whatever feels most comfortable for you. For me, it is my right side. Now, at some point, probably about 15, 20 minutes into lying there, I hit that middle space. And that is the space between being asleep and awake. Now, with my reality shifting experiences, many times I will experience either myself lifting off the bed, and by the way, that's not separation for those of you who astral project. I don't feel my spirit separating from my body. What I feel is that my entire body is lifting off the bed. Or when I'm in motion, I'll feel like my entire body is in motion. When I'm changing direction, same thing. So this time I felt myself roll off of my bed, and then I felt myself begin to tumble. Now, tumbling in the sense of if you were to lie down on an incline or a hill and you began to roll down that hill, that's what it felt like for me, except I was rolling on basically a flat surface. And I felt this sensation before. It's weird. I understand that these are all translations, and that my perception of what it is what is my mind attempting to make sense of what is happening. So it's a translation. That is at least what my belief is. At some point, the darkness lifted, and this was after I slowed down and stopped. And the first thing I remember was I was having some difficulty standing up. Now, this has been another issue that I have had at times, being able to lift myself up when I arrive in a place, when I arrive in a reality. I sometimes have difficulty with this. And my belief has always been that has something to do with frequency. After discussing this with my mother, actually, our theory was that at times when I arrive in a specific reality, it takes some time for my frequency to match the surroundings. And so what happens is I feel this heaviness. Now, if I give it a moment, then at some point, I will be able to kind of rise up and I'll feel normal. But in the beginning, I feel very heavy and like I feel like I have to struggle to get up. Now, I felt this. I relaxed because I knew that I had known, or I've known about this whole thing with frequency. So I just let it pass and I was able to get up. So I got up and I noticed this. Well, it's a little bit difficult to explain. The first thought that came to my mind was a fireplace, but it was ancient and it was white, pure marble. I thought of the medieval days, back when there were knights and things like that. Those were the thoughts that were going in my head. This was a piece that was part of a fireplace, I think, and there were many forms that were carved into this marble that was a part of this fireplace. And I was able to touch the figures and the different parts of it. There was an amazing craftsmanship that had been done with this thing. Whatever it was beautiful. It really, truly was. And part of me touching it was me, confirming, hey, this is solid. This is really happening. I mean, wow, this is marble. And it was, like I said, simply amazing. To my right, there was a door, which I did not go out of. By the way, I was probably tempted to do that, but I have gone through doors before and made a mistake with that. Instead of staying in the place that I think I'm supposed to stay in to learn whatever lesson I'm supposed to learn. So I stayed. I saw the door. I was like, no, I'm not going to go through the door this time. And to the right of the door, there was a sort of tabletop that was sort of elevated. And there were all these figures on this tabletop. I mean, many figures on it. And they were also very well crafted, but they were all miniature. And I was going through and touching all of these different figures, again, solid. Now, the one thing that I recall about this ancient fireplace and these figures on this tabletop was that they were very difficult for me to understand. My mind was having difficulty putting together what it was seeing. Okay, so I'm seeing this, and this kind of tells me that this was, again, some sort of translation, something that my mind could sort of grasp in a sense, to be able to sort of figure out what it was that I was seeing, or at least my mind trying to figure out what it was seeing. Now, to the right of even that, there was something else. Now, there were these three things that I saw, and then there was darkness. So there wasn't any infrastructure. There wasn't any other things that were around. There were just these things. And then there was darkness, and I was staring into this darkness that was there. And I raised my hand. Now, my hands seem to have some sort of significance when I am having an experience. Most of the time, I can use them to light up specific areas. And so I raised my hand to kind of light light up the darkness to see what this was. And as soon as I did that, I was transported back instantly. I mean, I opened my eyes and I was like, okay, I'm back. So that was the experience. And I don't know, it was interesting. I was speaking to my mother about this, and I was telling my mother, well, I asked about being able to touch Source, to be able to touch God, and this is what happened. And, my mom was saying, well, I mean, you asked to do it, and, there's a possibility that this was what it was. And I was thinking to myself, well, I was expecting all these fireworks, and it was a ball of light, and there was going to be angels singing, or I don't know. I was like thinking all of this different stuff. I fell into the trap that I always warn you guys about, which is having expectations of something. And I think we do, right? If we're going to touch God or touch Source, we're going to imagine that there are all these things that are going to happen. But what if it's so simple? What if it's just touching something like that marble that I touched and feeling it, and that it's solid and that it's real? Simplicity, guys. It really is all about simplicity. And that's, I think, what I'm trying to communicate to you. I talk at times about your dreams, and about paying attention to your dreams and not discarding them. Paying attention to the things that are in your dreams, because there are beings that are out there that may be trying to reach out to you in your dreams. And you may be thinking, well, it's just a dream. I'm just, this is a waste of time. Dreams happen. Well, yeah, dreams do happen. And sometimes I think it is probably one of the most effective ways for beings out there to contact us, especially if we're not going out, whether it be shifting or astral projecting, especially if we're not going out there. That is a way for them to communicate with us. And by the way, guys, I do believe that there is a bit of a communication gap. I mean, I'm so glad that I learned Spanish, because it really taught me that certain things don't translate. And those of you who are listening to me that are bilingual, you will understand completely what I mean. There are certain words that don't translate between the languages, and you have to kind of figure out, well, this word kind of means this, and this is kind of what it means, but in the original language, it's much deeper, or there's, much more to it. Think about that. And think about Source attempting to reach out to us in some way and trying to communicate in a way that we understand. Perhaps certain things will not translate. So it does what it has to do to help us to understand. And we may not understand completely what's going on, but, we understand enough. Anyway, I hope this was helpful. Thank you so much for coming on this journey with me. And until next time, take care.